I love cartoons. I don't think that's a secret. Hey everyone, welcome to MK Rants, a podcast where I, your host MK, will rant to you about a topic. Today we're going to talk about the difference between Superboy from Young Justice, you know, the TV show, it's great, and Bizarro. Because fundamentally, I think they share similar concepts, but they're different in execution. So today we're just going to discuss why they're practically the same just with a few tweaks. Now, I have been on a rewatch of Superman the Animated Series, which I think premiered in 1997, and it is one of the shows in the DCAU lineup. Like I said in my Batman Beyond video, AU stands for Animated Universe. Not alternate universe, animated universe. So then me and, my dad, who is also a huge nerd, was like, hey, let's watch Young Justice. And so I was like, yeah, let's watch Young Justice. As I don't think we ever finished it, and quite frankly, it's phenomenal, and it got canceled, but now it's back from cancellation, and there are new episodes being produced. So I was like, heck yeah! So, first two episodes are just us establishing the status quo of this show, and us getting to know Aqualad, Robin, Kid Flash, and Superboy. Also Miss Martian, but she comes in at the end of episode 2, so she's not relevant for this conversation. But one of the episodes that from this, one of the things that I think caught my eye was the fact that I realized that Superboy and Bizarro share very similar concepts. Now, what is Bizarro, or who is Bizarro? Bizarro is a clone of Superman produced by Lex Luthor and LexCorp, I'm pretty sure, in, the mountains in the secret laboratory. This is very illegal, but, it's Lex Luthor, so he's going to do his best to, replicate Superman because he wants to bring upon his downfall. Now, what did this do? Well, it didn't go really well. It failed, and Bizarro ended up a little bit wonky because of that. So he's not a perfect clone, but he's still a clone. Now, Superboy, on the other hand, was using Superman's direct DNA. So basically, it's Superman's son. Indirectly. I think they stole the DNA. But, also, Superboy was produced by Cadmus, which is famous in, the first episode already. Well, not famous, but it wasn't known that they were, doing these weird, genetic experiments or whatever, producing, armies. I don't remember what they were called. They said the things in the show, but I do not remember what they were called. But basically, Superboy is the most human one of them all, again, being a direct influence of Superman's DNA. Now, fundamentally, they are very similar concepts, because as I said earlier, they're both clones, and they both are directed off of Superman. However, like I also said, they're different companies and for different goals. Now that already is very different. Now, I didn't do research, so it could just be that they were, that this was an incidental thing, or it could be that it was very well modeled off of it, except, Cadmus had more success. Now, Bizarro's story in that episode of Superman goes crazy, and he's featured in more than one episode across the series, which is great. The Teen Titans Go, love them. They had the idea of a whole Bizarro world. Personally, I think they veered a little bit off of the original concept, so it's still the same thing, but Teen Titans Go did veer off the concept a little bit, which I'm not against, but it's not what Bizarro was originally, and I think that does show because of the way that it just was, and but Bizarro in Superman isn't fundamentally a bad person. Just has some twisted ideas, not in a bad way, but he still thinks he's Superman. He's not Superman, but he thinks that, because like I said, he's the clone of Superman, so he thinks that he is, Superman. Not the real Superman by the end of the episode, but Superman, right? The way the episode is structured is, we see him doing all of these things around town, and we, the audience, are like, oh, it's Superman saving some people. However, plot twist, as he's saving some people, Clark Kent and Lois Flippin' Lane drive up, and that's when we're like, That's not normal. Because Clark Kent is Superman. For those of you who don't know, I'm sorry if I just spoiled the entirety of Superman. But it showed us, the audience, that that's not Superman. Because how could Superman be saving people, but also being Clark Kent? So, Clark disappears because he can. His excuse is that he needed to take a walk, and then Lois was like, but wait, we're in, like, the middle of nowhere. And he's like, small town things, walks a mile to school or whatever. I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was an excuse. And so, he walks, and then bada bing, bada boom, Superman is actually chasing fake Superman. So now we're following Superman, and he chases Bizarro. Then we're like, oh, okay, that's not Bizarro. Shenanigans happen, and, the lab falls apart, Lex Luthor's going crazy, and then, we just have to watch this go down, and then, Bizarro allegedly dies. That's dramatic, but he dies in an explosion. He comes back for another episode. This time, he, I think, stumbled into the Fortress of Solitude and found the memory orb of Krypton, which, Brainiac has. So basically, all roads lead back to Brainiac a little bit. Not really, but kind of. In this sense, it just led back to the orb because Brainiac had it, because, he's evil. Brainiac's evil. For those of you who didn't know that, I thought it was obvious. But anyway, so, bada bing, bada boom, he sees Krypton, he tries to replicate it, stuff gets hurt, he launches a missile to replicate, like, Krypton exploding. It didn't really work, but this time it was aimed at Metropolis. Superman stops it and then drops Bizarro off on his own planet that he can protect. There's nothing there minus this one alien that Bizarro found in, like, the Fortress of Solitude. And, bada bing, bada boom, he just exists there and lives out his existence on that planet, saving people he made himself with, like, rocks and sticks and stuff. That sounds depressing out of context, but honestly, it's not too bad. Like, I don't know what else they were gonna do. Like, you can't just kill the man. Because, I mean, like, this is a 90s cartoon. Like, a man got disintegrated on screen. But that's not what... But, you feel some sympathy towards him, because you're like, he's not Superman, but he's trying to be Superman. Like, he's aware of it, but at the same time, he's also not aware that he's not the real Superman. It's weird, and it's a whole bunch of craziness that, you have to experience right then and there. Now, compared to Superboy from Young Justice. I'm talking about the cartoon. I'm not referring to any other versions. I made that clear in the beginning, but we're only going to talk about Young Justice because I see the similarities and I see what they were trying to do. I don't think they were actually trying to do it, but, it's something. So, rundown of how they find Superboy. Basically, it's Aqualad, Kid Flash, and Robin. I don't know which Robin. I don't remember which Robin. It might have been Dick Grayson. I don't really remember. I think it was, though. But basically, they're gonna become, like, part-time members of the League, or be part of the Justice League. Speedy's there too, but Speedy's mad because he's like, oh, but we want it to be actual heroes. We don't want to be like your sidekicks or whatever, and leaves. So that just leaves them. Miss Martian isn't a thing yet, and honestly really isn't a thing till later in, like, till episode 2, like I said. But we're just gonna ignore her presence. She's not even there, but we're just gonna ignore the fact that she exists, even though she's on the cover of, like, the whole thing and is part of the marketing material. Just ignore her existence, because the first 2 episodes are what we're focusing on. So, Robin hacks into the freaking, like, Justice League computer. His explanation, it's the same system as the Batcave, which, honestly, props to Batman for being able to, like, keep that, but like, just being able to, like, just using equipment he's familiar with, like, using a system he's super familiar with, like, in every area. So, they go on a mission because there was a fire at Katniss Laboratory. However, the Katniss building, is fine, but they end up realizing that there's stuff underneath the building itself, and that's when they find the organization that Cadmus really is. It's not an innocent laboratory, it's an actual secret organization, and it's really bad and evil. So, they end up, like, going through the floors and whatnot, and they find, and, like, floor 52, as Robin finds in, like, the files, is where they keep Project capital A, lowercase r, which is the atomic symbol for Krypton, as, you know, Kid Flash states. I think Kid Flash is Wally West. I'm not too sure about that, though. Wally West is weird. But, wait, he is Wally West. They say that, okay, anyway. So, Kid Flash is just, you know, it's like, it's Krypton, they're, like, replicating Superman, and then everyone's like, oh, okay, we have a problem now. So, they feel bad because he's stuck, like, there. He was grown in, like, 16 weeks. That's what they say. I think they actually were, like, and Robin's, like, reading the file, and it's like, he was grown in 16 weeks using the DNA of Superman. And everyone was like, boy. So, I just got a shiver. I'm cold. I don't have a blanket. I'm cold. Anyway, so they read more, and, you know, he's wearing this, like, leotard thing that allows him to absorb, like, sunlight, even down that low. There are some, like, weird things in the pod with him, which are the creatures that Cadmus actually grows. Again, don't remember their names. I'm sorry. And so they were force-feeding him an education, and, you know, everyone was like, you know what? We should probably free him, because, like, I kind of feel bad leaving him here. So they free him, he beats them up, and, you know, now, Aqualad, Robin, and Kid Flash are at risk of being cloned again. So we're just gonna have a bunch of clones. And so they, you know, they're like, Superboy, come on, man, help us, please. Like, we really don't want to die down here, because the League is gonna have our heads either way, but if we get killed, they're gonna have us, like, killed again, right? And he's like, and, you know, he's being mind controlled. By the way, the things that Cadmus grows can, like, mind control people. I didn't think that was relevant till now, but it is. So he's kind of being controlled. And then, by the way, we're episode 2 now. So, you know, so he's being mind controlled, but he still can, like, make choices. So, like, Aqualad's like, help us, please. And, you know, he runs back and, like, helps them, because he's like, alright then. And so, you know, they escape thanks to the help of the most intelligent of all the things Cadmus grows. I think they're called geomes. I'm gonna call them geomes, because that's what's coming to mind. So the geomes, the smartest one, which can actually have a conversation, is the most humanoid looking, as, like, you are, like, well, one of the most humanoid looking. The most humanoid looking is Superboy, obviously. But he's like, alright, you're, like, our only hope. We're gonna let you go, and you're gonna help us, because, you know, you are going to kind of, like, be our savior. So, you know, that happens, and we're like, ooh, the drama, the tea, the shade. So that happens, and, you know, then they destroyed Cadmus by this point. Like, it's all, like, basically destroyed, and so they do, and, you know, Superboy, it's night, by the way, so Superboy doesn't really have any powers outside of the pod, except for, like, one, because they're deep underground, and he really hasn't had the chance to absorb yellow sunlight, which is kind of needed, because he's Superboy, also directly reflected off of Superman's DNA. Excuse me, I burped. Anyway, I need to, like, calm down. I'm, like, super, like, high in energy, I don't know why. But you know, Superman is there with, like, the rest of the League, and, you know, Superboy, you know, meets Superman, and everyone's like, and at this point, the League is kind of, like, upset because they did something without permission, and everyone was like, and then they were like, alright, fine, you know what, we're still mad, but we're gonna, like, cut you some slack, because we feel bad. But also, y'all destroyed, like, a freaking laboratory. I don't understand how the League can't just be upset about that. So, I think they were, but I can't really tell. So they were going to put the rest of Cadmus under investigation, and then basically, Superman's like, alright, Superboy, we're going to set you up here, because, like, what else are they going to do? Like, I don't know, what else is the League supposed to do other than, like, set this man up for, like, success? And, you know, bada bing, bada boom, they get their head out, bada bing, bada boom, now their team feet Miss Martian, who shows up, like, the last 5 minutes. She's Martian Manhunter's niece. Martian Manhunter is underrated, and he's a great Justice League member. Also, brief note, the Justice League lineup in this doesn't have Hawkgirl. It includes Aquaman. Also, Aquaman in this version doesn't have his hook hand. Don't ask me about it. It's complicated. Watch the animated show. Watch, like, Justice League from, like, the 90s. Again, part of the DCAE lineup. So, that is a lot of information for, like, 2 incoherent characters, but they share some fundamental similarities that I don't think can realistically be overlooked. Bizarro, cloned in a lab, you know, to replicate Superman. Superboy, grown in a lab to replicate Superman. So what does that show me? Well, it shows that they're very similar, and they both idolize Superman. They both are told, you are Superman, and you will be Superman, like, in their entire existences. It's just like, you are Superman, you will be Superman, like, let's go, you're gonna be Superman, right? So, this kind of made me think, like, what if they are based off the same concepts? Then what do I do here? Because if they're based off the same concepts, then I have the undermining issue that it's very likely that they were just, like, using this as an idea, where they were bouncing Superboy's, like, concept off of Bizarro's, which, if true, would be phenomenal, because it shows that even, like, characters who you don't think about often do have an effect in DC as a whole. Like, Lori Lemaris. Who knows who Lori Lemaris is? She was Superman's, like, ex-mermaid girlfriend, and she's been here since, like, the Silver Age, Honestly, I watched a video about her by Casually Comics, and oh my gosh, Lori Lemaris is amazing. But who knows who she is, like, realistically? Have y'all, like, ever heard the name Lori Lemaris? Fun fact, though, she does appear in, like, these newer seasons of, like, Young Justice. So I have a feeling that when I get to that point, I'll be like, yo, it's Lori Lemaris. And then everyone will just be like, what are you talking about? And then, you know, that'll be a funny situation. But when I think about it, I don't have a lot to go off of for my assumptions here. But I do think that because of how they are structured as characters, and how they are grown, or, like, and how they were made, and how just, like, what they were told, I think that the similarities kind of were, like, what, like, caused me to form this conspiracy, because I was like, boy, obviously, it's very obvious at this point that there is something going on here. Like, I would have to do more research, but I think it's plausible. It could also just be, like, a strange coincidence. Like, how else are you gonna produce, like, Superman 2.0, right? Because, like, what other explanation? Krypton's dead. Supergirl has been found. Lois Lane is trying to make it as a reporter. Clark Kent is, you know, being Clark Kent, who is also Superman again. I feel the need to state that. So, I don't really have anything else for this podcast. I am working on notes for a Madoka Magica podcast. I have some brief, like, ideas there. And then, of course, the Psyche K probably warrants a rewatch, because I need to, like, gather some more information. So that's kind of what this episode of the podcast was. It was just me talking about Young Justice and Superman the Animated Series, but trying to, like, find threads that probably don't exist between Superboy and Bizarro. What are your thoughts? What are your opinions? I would like to thank you all so much for listening to my rant today, and y'all, thank you. Please consider liking and subscribing. Bye-bye.